Okay, I think it's 3 o'clock. We can start meditation, yeah? So, I assume you guys been meditating for quite a while, yeah? I think the beginner's meditation class, it's on the right room, on your right hand side. Just in case. Sorry, yeah? I think there is also a beginner's class. Is anybody there on the other side? Yeah, so if you want to go on to the other side, so there's a small room. Thank you. Okay. That's good. To clarify. I thought it would never happen. Okay. All right. Okay, I think people still coming in. It's okay. So one of the important things about meditation is reflecting wisely, right? Because we always want our meditation to go well and go deeper, right? And we hear all the time about these meditation masters having these deeper meditation experiences, yeah? Yeah. And Buddha going to these stages, yeah, jhanas, and then you get these insights afterwards. Yeah. We hear about these things and we feel there is something powerful. Yeah. Of course there is something very powerful about these stages. Yeah. But how do we get there? Yeah. And sometimes we just sort of like mechanically force our way, yeah? Because that's what we are conditioned to do in the world, right? You keep doing it again and again and again, right? And we don't really reflect wisely, right? And what do I mean by wisely? We don't look at it in accordance with the Eightfold Path. Right? That's why we don't progress. Yeah? Yeah. That's why it's really good actually to read the teachings of the Buddha. And surprisingly vast majority of the people don't do that. You probably come to hear this monk, right? Or other monks, yeah, and nuns. Yeah? But you not really want to know what, the master who kind of like started this whole thing, yeah? What he had to say about it. Yeah? So do you want to learn from an apprentice or a master? Yeah? People usually like to brag, in the world, like, I spent this much time with this professor, under this professor. People write in their resume, right? Yeah? But when it comes to spiritual tradition, where do you learn it from? Yeah? Sure, like when there's a live person around, it helps. Yeah? But we definitely also want input. Yeah? 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 From the first person, yeah? Yeah? Who had deeper insights. Yeah? Probably in modern spiritual history, nobody has ever come close. Ajahn Brahm has his own angles. Ajahn Chah had his own angles. There are other meditation masters in Thailand, very powerful monks. They have their own angles. But there is really one thing in common which is very important. And you can also see that in other meditation circles in India, which are not Buddhist. What is that? Which is actually many people miss. That is metta, loving kindness. What do we call just Ajahn? I think Ajahn Brahm coined that word, kindfulness. That is missing. Rather than trying to achieve, we're trying to let go. This is a path of renunciation. So think yourself, when you sit down to meditate, you can imagine yourself to be a monk and nun. That you are a renunciant for 1 hour or these 45 minutes. Right? You don't have to worry about these problems. Not that I'm trying to invent a new tradition, so you can say, hey, I'm a renunciant. Sure, yeah. Maybe those for 45 minutes or an hour. So when we bring kindness, because there is nobody else in here. This Buddha said is anatta. It's just cause and effect. We are conditioned beings. Deeply conditioned beings. Everything is a conditioned phenomenon in this world. Everything you see around you is a condition. So when you sit down, you try to be kind to your body, because that's the most obvious thing you notice. You don't sit in a kind of a, cross-legged position and be uncomfortable, and have to change your posture after 20 minutes, move a little, no. I don't think that is kindness. You don't need to stick to kind of like traditional things in a way. Because that looks good. No. Whatever is comfortable for you, whatever you can sit for a long time. And actually it also, this attitude that if we have in our normal life, it tends to come into our meditation as well. So the getting to enlightenment is not all about just meditation. No. It's the whole other factors. That's how we progress. They affect each other. Sometimes you can go far in having deeper meditation experiences. If you have wrong view, your intentions are not good, you can go astray, and it tends to happen. I've heard many stories, even of monks, Buddhist monks. I've heard many stories of other spiritual traditions, whether they're Hindu or Sikh. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty common. Yeah. So we need to look at the whole eightfold path if we want spiritual progress. Yeah. We just shouldn't be just focused on a meditation experience. It's the whole spiritual path. Yeah. So we can start now, yeah, if we close our eyes. We gently bring our attention to our body. And we feel our body and check if it needs to be adjusted. We gently move our attention throughout the body. And we start to notice the areas of the body where there is more pressure or tension. just stay with those areas. Don't try to change. You just let them be. And slowly, slowly, her body starts to relax by itself. We just stay in the present moment. Imagine yourself to be a renunciant. You have renounced the past. And you renounce the future. And all you have is this present. have kindness, metta, this friendliness towards whatever we experience. Whether it's your body or any disturbances in your mind. We keep on reminding our mind with kindness. Stay in the present. slowly bring our attention to our breath. We gently observe the in-breath and the out-breath. We don't try to control it. Just its natural rhythm. And we allow this gentle, natural rhythm to calm our mind down. We breathe in peace. And we breathe out, letting go. Letting go of all your worries, your past, your future. You have nowhere to go. You have no job. You have no responsibilities. You're happy to be here. now I'm going to be quiet. I will speak close towards the end of meditation. we're getting close to the end of meditation. Now it's time to reflect. Ask yourself, how do you feel? What did you do differently this time? When I ring the gong, after the third bell of the gong, please come out of meditation. Okay. So we have some questions. First question is from Germany. What's the difference between deep meditation and deep prayer? Ajahn Brahm said both can bring similar experiences. How does meditation differ to prayer? Is it just patience? I think what meditation can go deeper, but I think prayer can bring similar experience, but up to a degree. Sometimes you need to let go of the chatter of the mind. So what prayer is, you kind of like guide your mind towards certain idea, whether you're praying to something, or maybe God or something, you surrendering your sense of self. But meditation, especially with Buddhist meditation, we try to use wisdom, kindness, rather than relying on some higher power. So rather than a prayer, I think our meditation is much better. Yeah? Develop your wisdom. Yeah? You just don't want to be living on a prayer. You're not Bon Jovi fans. So music is actually a hindrance. So, yeah. I think that probably would answer your question. Actually, if you look at some of the Christian mystics, right, or nuns in the past, right, they used to have do similar things. Even like Hindu, sort of like gurus and stuff, they use these mantras, yeah, they pray, yeah, which calms their mind down because their behavior, their virtue was so good, yeah, they were already living this renunciant life, yeah, so it would take them to kind of like, deeper experiences, yeah. But not everybody can do that, yeah. Even in the short term and long term, meditation is much better. And the other problem, there's a doctrine of God and prayer is, we sometimes don't want to deal with the problems. We want this higher figure, right? We can pray to who can take away all our problems. Yeah. But we know nobody can take that. Yeah. It's just being stuck in samsara. Yeah. You are your own savior. If you put the right effort, yeah, have right view, you can get out. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, second question. I've been meditating for like 3 years and feel like peace is nowhere near, like stuck with progress. What do you suggest? There is a continuous tendency that mind is not in the present. Yeah? So as I was saying before, that you need to kind of like see, yeah, you need to try different things. Yeah? Yeah? What kind of work do you do? Yeah? Are you very critical of yourself? Yeah? Yeah. And when you meditate, you don't try to achieve. Yeah? That I want deep meditation experience. Yeah? Like Ajahn, there's a really famous line by Ajahn Chah. It's like, you're looking for peace, right? Is like you go on looking for a turtle with a mustache. Yeah? It doesn't exist. What he means to say, go looking for things. Yeah? Just sit, relax, don't worry. Yeah? Why you're so obsessed with achieving things? Yeah? Spiritual path is that totally goes in the opposite direction to the material world. Yeah? That's why it's actually hard. Yeah? And if you have a lot of loving kindness, that's why many people find it hard to do loving kindness meditation. Yeah. So you need to start preparing. Yeah? Focus on your emotions. Yeah? On those emotions which makes you kind of like, have compassion for everyone. Yeah? Rather than picking and choosing. Yeah. Try to look at bigger picture. Yeah? Yeah. Do some wise contemplation throughout the day. Yeah. And sometimes you may feel like you're stuck, but you're not. Yeah? If you don't expecting, you're not. Yeah? Yeah? Eventually it will come. Go on meditation retreat. Yeah? Maybe on weekend rather than hanging out with lots of your friends, or going to different restaurants or bars. Yeah? I don't know what people do. Go something different. Be by yourself. Don't go on the internet. Yeah? So, try different things. Okay, third question. How do stop the self-sabotaging in meditation? My mind has been very resistant to peace recently. No. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Just relax. Yeah. What is the reason why it's doing it? Yeah. Sometimes you let it be. Maybe something you're doing wrong throughout the day. Yeah. You're not guiding yourself. Yeah. Sometimes, rather than doing sitting meditation, do some walking meditation. Yeah. So, I'm not sure if you're familiar with walking meditation, you just walk and put your attention, sole of your feet. Yeah. On every step, and look maybe 1.5 meters in front. Yeah. Yeah. With every step, your attention on your sole of your feet. Yeah. That's the only time we believe in soul. Yeah. So, and that actually kind of like calms your mind down. Yeah. Sometimes you need some sort of like effort to be put in. Yeah. Yeah. You're not kind of like a forceful. Yeah. Then maybe after 15 minutes or so you sit down. Then generally the quality of sitting meditation is much better. So you let it be. Yeah? Try different things. Okay, fourth question. How you stop thinking at some point in meditation? After I find myself lingering in peace, I cannot stay in this great feeling of all the time. At some point my mind wanders again. Oh, wow. Because it's a conditioned phenomena. Everything comes and goes. Because causes are not there, that's why it's not kind of like stays for longer. Slowly when your mind start to kind of like, calm down, the frequency of thoughts become less. Their momentum doesn't have that force. So, it's the point of like, you can say doing more practice. Yeah? If you do more, your kind of piti, sukha and feeling of peace would be greater. So matter of more practice. Don't sort of think that like, within after like 1 year or 6 months, I can sort of like, have really great meditation. We don't know our past, what we've been doing recently. So just focus on the Eightfold Path more, I would say. That usually is the best remedy. Do some contemplation of non-self. That would calm your mind down pretty quick. Or death contemplation, if you want to be brave. all your problems and thinking would go away. Yeah. Yeah. It's usually not recommended to kind of like lay people, but from time to time it doesn't hurt. So, yeah, try. Okay. Are there any other questions from the floor? Oh, everybody's so content. Right. So let's pay respect to Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Araham Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavatam Abhivade Svakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammanamasan Supatipanno Bhagavata